You know who gives the best advice? Not therapists, not gurus, not clergy, younger siblings. Woo! I'm the youngest in my family, and we're going to be looking at younger siblings talking up to their older siblings in Bridgerton. Pretty niche episode, but here we go. Mended Light. So I did some Therapist Reacts Raw episodes to Bridgerton way back where my producer just showed me clips. I'd never watched the show. I just reacted to them like, here's my first impression. And you all said, Jonna, watch Bridgerton. It's amazing. So Alicia and I watched Bridgerton. It was amazing. It's very hot and heavy Jane Austen, basically. But yeah, that's cool. But we're not going to go hot and heavy today. We're just going to go for pointed sibling barbs, where siblings give the best advice, especially the younger siblings. I've never seen a video like this before, and as the youngest in my family, I can't get enough of it. Let's go.
If you say she is the one in whose presence you cannot properly think or even breathe, if you say you feel that feeling.
Feeling? There is a pleasure in the pathless woods. Ooh. There is a rapture on the lawn. That poem's nonsense. But I thought this sort of thing was supposed to be a pleasure.
Poetry, yes. Byron, heavens no.
Is not everyone supposed to love Byron?
Many an IU at Cambridge thought my poetry far superior to his.
Hello, Light Menders. This episode is brought to you by Supriya, an organization dedicated to healing from and prevention of sexual abuse through free resources and volunteer opportunities. If you are a parent or a caregiver, I want to tell you what Supriya has to help you learn and proactively apply research-based practices to reduce the risk of sexual abuse happening to the children you love. Supriya's prevention resources include community education classes and online prevention resources. These prevention resources are free to the public thanks to the generosity of Supriya's founders and donors. First, you can help reduce the risk of child sexual abuse in your community by teaching a prevention class. Supriya's community education classes were developed in collaboration with licensed mental health clinicians and community leaders. You can train, then teach parents, caregivers, and concerned citizens in your community or attend the classes yourself. Supriya's discussion guides help make it easier to initiate this meaningful dialogue and increase awareness around sexual abuse. Topics include ways to reduce the risk, teaching your child healthy sexuality, and teaching consent. They also have online prevention resources. Supriya believes that proactive parents teach their children age-appropriate information about sexuality and nurture their child's capability and self-esteem. Supriya's online prevention resources include proactive parenting, raising capable kids, and sexual development at all ages. To learn more about Supriya's prevention resources, visit supriya.org. Okay. First things first, and this isn't just older siblings to younger siblings, though I do hope that my older siblings watch this. This is in life. We tend to believe that age leads to wisdom and that youth is associated with ignorance. And that's, that's a natural conclusion to draw. The older you are, the more life experiences you've had. But sometimes the older you are, the longer you've had to get entrenched in harmful thinking patterns or just incorrect ways of behaving. And so we can all learn from one another. And this is a good time to talk about ageism. I experienced ageism early on in my career as a therapist because I started my career when I was in my late 20s, and people thought I was in my early 20s or late teens. And so I would sit down as a therapist and I'd say, okay, let's get started. And they'd say, so are you like the student intake worker? You gonna take my forms, and when does the therapist get here? And I go, I'm the therapist. And I hung my diplomas behind me, and so people would know that I was legit, and they still thought I was like Doogie Howser of therapy, to the point where I was so excited when I started to gray, because I thought, well, maybe people will take me seriously now. Turns out a decade plus of sitting in a chair and being a parent has aged me, and now nobody questions it anymore. But the fact is, we look to older people for wisdom, and it's not always there. We need to be open to wisdom wherever we can get it from, because all of us can have experiences that can benefit other people, and all of us have the potential to have read something or have come across something that is profound and helpful.
Many an IU at Cambridge thought my poetry far superior to his.
I will be perfectly putrefied if Philippa does manage to marry Finch.
Petrified. The word is petrified.
If it is a clear mind you seek, brother, I may know how to help. Worldly travellers use it as a way to open their minds and transcend ordinary anxieties.
He gives him, I don't know what drug this is, but...
For the effects. Are you still up? Oh, well, you may wish to bathe before you see Mother in the morning.
Miss Edwina.
So there's a whole great subplot where he drinks whatever that is and just goes like completely on a trip, and it's really funny. Here's the thing, and I experience this sometimes with my own children, is if I'm not careful, I think I've got it all figured out. And the moment you think you've got it all figured out is the moment you stop learning. And it's the moment that you're going to get past, like the tortoise and the hare. The hare assumed he had the race. The hare assumed he had the race won, so he didn't take it seriously. And that's the same thing in this case with older siblings. But just with those of us who've lived a little longer, we may think, well, I've got the experience. I figured out how things work, and never stop learning. One of my favorite things that I've ever heard about Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg, Oscar winner, multiple Oscar winner, one of the most financially successful directors ever. And he still asks young filmmakers who are in awe of him, who were children watching his films and were inspired to become filmmakers by him, when he meets them, he asks them, I saw your movie, how did you get this shot? Or how did you pull off this feat? Or I loved this moment. He is always learning from everybody, including those who are younger than him, and that's how he stays at the top of his game.
Are you still up? Oh, well, you may wish to bathe before you see Mother in the morning.
Miss Edwina, she is lovely. I'm certain she will make a perfect wife.
Do you still not like her?
I never said I did not like her. I only wonder if you truly know each other well enough.
She'll make a perfectly agreeable wife.
What he means to say is that he has already dismissed every other young lady in town.
Truly, brother, is there really no one you share similarities with? No one at all?
Ah, I see you are not one for losing.
I shall have you. She's pompous and arrogant and quite sure she knows best in every situation.
Oh, she sounds like a terrible nuisance.
Especially since you are the one who knows best in every situation.
Perhaps your life might be easier if you pursued someone with a less disagreeable sister.
You are courting her sister.
But I have every intention of bringing it to a point.
Why?
Why? Because I am courting her.
You deserve this.
Why?
Why me and why not you? What I am, Kate, is a grown woman. And for the first time in my life, I am able to make a decision based on what I would like. So if I choose to marry Anthony, it will be because it pleases me and no one else. I need you to understand that.
And in that's a terrific speech when you watch the whole thing, that her older sister's been looking out for her as a way to avoid looking out for herself. Her older sister's been taking care of her so that she thinks this is my role and I don't have to focus on my own life. And when we hover as siblings or when we hover as parents or just as people, we don't look at ourselves, we look outward towards others first. We can be prone to hypocrisy, and how crucial it is to honor the choices and the agency of the people that we care about.
I need you to understand that. But you must be honest with yourself. Because one way or another, these kind of feelings always have a way of coming to the surface.
And what kind of feelings are those?
Lust, love.
Love.
Oh yeah, it was one of the two.
You say you have spent your life trying to give me everything I lacked. But really, you simply gave me everything you really wanted for yourself, as though my life were not my own.
So here, time after time after time, the wisdom that needs to be heard comes from someone who is younger. And as I said earlier, sometimes being younger means you're not as entrenched in your ways or as entrenched in your thoughts, and you can see things that others cannot.
I've never wished to succumb to the blind delight of being in love. I cannot so indulge myself.
You can choose to be happy.
To follow the desires of your heart instead of pushing away any feeling that comes to the surface. It should not be a luxury, but a right to choose, to fight for the family that you want.
I fight for the family that I have.
How long?
In other words, I'm not going to marry for love. I'm going to marry the person that I think is the best fit for my role as head of this family to meet all of these different obligations, right?
How long do you plan on punishing yourself for and wallowing in such misery?
Forget I came. Have a good night, Benedict.
Look, no, things may seem bleak now, brother. But if I'm learning anything from my art studies, it's that it is almost always a matter of perspective.
When I found out about your accident, all I could think of is how I do not even know you. Nor do you know yourself. Kate, I am done with playing a part. I want to know myself truly and to know who you are too. Because I am unsure I like the young ladies we have both been playing.
Role expectations in families. For the longest time, I was the pipsqueak younger brother. And maybe some of you can relate to this. You leave home, you create a life for yourself, new social circles, new friends, new accomplishments, and you stand on your own. And then the moment you're back with your siblings, everyone just slides right back into their old roles. And here I was in my early 20s, my mid-20s, and no matter what, I was just treated like the nuisance younger brother. Right? The nuisance younger brother who couldn't possibly know anything, who was just an annoyance, or someone that we liked, but, just kind of whatever. And it wasn't until I was in graduate school that my brother said to me, he says, you're growing up. And I'm like, I've been growing up for years. But everyone fails to see it. Why? Because of roles. What she's talking about, the roles that we play, the parts that we play, the expectations that we carry into these scenarios. I was in my 30s. My dad and my sister came to see me give a presentation on adoption and blended families, and they said, you're all grown up, and you're a professional. And I said, I've been grown up and a professional for going on a decade now. We fail to see it because of these roles that we play. We need to open up our minds to see each other in a new light.
Because I am unsure I like the young ladies we have both been playing.
Art Academy not going so well?
I'm an imposter, Al. Turns out Anthony himself bought my seat at that table.
That does not mean you would not have been accepted on your own.
Right? He's thinking I would never gotten into art school because my brother bribed them to let me in, but she says, you're a talented artist, don't sell yourself short.
Be the sister I know that you are. Be funny and brave and feeling. Be unafraid to follow your heart after doing the exact opposite for far too long. You have spent so much of your time shining your light on me. It is time for you to shine all on your own.
Well, I think I've proven my point. If you found this helpful, I invite you to check out You Can't Heal Broken Family Relationships, they said. Are you a younger sibling fighting for respect? Let me know what your experience has been, and have you gained it, and how? Are you struggling in your family relationships? Go to mendedlight.com, schedule a complimentary 15-minute consultation with a member of our clinical team, or check out our low-cost membership site where we share the skills that we teach in therapy, but you can go at your own pace. Until next time, folks, keep shining. We need your light.